Gemini, this is your love reading for July, and this is for relationships that are new. Maybe you just started dating, or maybe your relationship isn't fully established yet. In the recent past, you have Death and High Priestess. So you had to come to terms with an important decision. For some of you, this may be tied to a Scorpio person, or you may have Scorpio in your chart. But something was very intense, maybe stressful. Maybe you had to surrender to the opposition, your partner's will, or external circumstances. Maybe there was a decision to be made about some kind of crisis or trauma. And maybe you're getting or you sought out advice for that, or some kind of inner guidance. Maybe you were trying to rely on your intuition. In some cases, perhaps, there was an over-reliance on logic. Maybe you or your partner got caught up in your head and you overanalyzed something to death, or you're stuck on a particular dogma, a bias, a prejudice. You see through a particular lens, and it's difficult for you to step outside of that. And so there's some kind of transformation where you had to reevaluate how you feel about yourself, about the relationship, about conditions or a situation. Maybe it had to do with a promise, or maybe a belief system, or maybe some kind of goal. But whatever this is, it was very intense. It may have centered on money or financial investments or shared assets or huge debt or large sums of money. Or it might have been psychological issues, mental health challenges, or perhaps it was something sexual in nature or issues of intimacy. Maybe you were even dealing with the death of an individual or a set of circumstances. This also said, you had to make a decision about whether you wanted to regenerate, whether you wanted to take your relationship or a situation in a new direction, in new form. But it did mean cutting the dead wood, releasing what no longer served a purpose. And it probably was very unsettling, this decision that you had to make. Now, in the present, you have Carnival and Eight of Cups. So, either you want to get off the ride. Maybe this was fun, but I see you. Or you're disappointed. You thought something was going to be more than what it is, and maybe this is just a fun ride. This is a relationship where there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of passion, a lot of exhilaration, but is it really leading anywhere? It may or it may not deepen. Is this just a friends with benefits? Are we just having fun? Or exactly what is this? It feels good right now, but at the end of the day, does it really mean anything? So you may be disappointed. You're looking, at the past. There's some disillusionment. Maybe you want to move on from something. It's been a good time, but now, you want to move on to something. And maybe you don't even really know what that is. And so, you're in search of something, or your partner is. There's a quest here to find something that's missing, to fill that void. And if you don't know exactly what it is you want, it makes it difficult to maintain a relationship, obviously. So one of you may be pondering the idea of striking out on your own path. So you're having to make a decision about whether you want to leave, whether you want to move on, whether you're disenchanted with the past. Something was fun, but was it fulfilling? In the future, you have this Knight of Cups and future. So you're looking at the long term, the long range goals. Some of you, maybe you're thinking about taking a trip. Maybe it's a road trip or, something connected to the future, whether you want to plan a future together. So there may be an offer on the table. This is water energy here. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, the sun, the moon, or the rising. So those signs may be important. There may be a tie here. So there could be an invitation in the offing. There could be a proposal or some kind of agreement. Maybe you're taking on the traits of this knight. This is, this gives you an ability to sort of navigate the other person's psyche, to, get in their head and sort of understand the psychological subtleties of a situation so that you can gain an advantage or win what it is that you want. And so you may be doing that or the other person. So there's an agreement here, an offer, an invitation in the future. Something is on the horizon here that has to do with planning a future together, seeing where this thing goes, where it leads, what's at the end of the road. Now, during the month of July, you and your partner will be playing out a particular archetype, a particular story. And, that role could be dominant for you or for the other person. You might be operating in the light, or you may be operating in the shadow, or going back and forth. You should be able to recognize you have companion. And so finding a good companion or being a good companion may be important. In the light, this is loyalty, tenacity, unselfishness. And so, loyalty can be an issue. Is this just a sexual, excitement? Is this just for fun? Or are we loyal to one another? Is this about what I want, what you want, what we want? In the shadow, there's a betrayal by misusing confidences or a loss of personal identity. So, maybe if you told your partner something and they used it against you in some way, that's an issue, or vice versa. Or if you're losing yourself in a relationship to the point of you're losing your own selfhood, obviously that's a problem. Or again, if one of you is in search of something and you don't even know what that is, this loss of personal identity, it's very difficult to be in a relationship with somebody when you don't know who you are yourself. The lesson here is I need to dig deeper to uncover the root of my unhappiness. So for one of you, there's something, in your gut. There's a sense of dissatisfaction, some kind of unhappiness. And this card reminds me of when people create arguments or obstacles, and it appears that it's about one thing, but it's really about something else. And maybe they don't even know what it is, or they're failing to let you know what it is. This is about getting with self, figuring out what it is that is making you unhappy, and are you just projecting that unhappiness or what you haven't resolved yet onto someone else? The advice is just laugh. So, while this may seem rather intense, you may need to lighten the element up. Humor is a very healing influence, and maybe you need to find opportunities to laugh with your partner. Maybe a situation is not as serious as you're making it. Maybe one of you has done something, or there's the perception that the other has done something, and someone is internalizing that perceived slight or the rejection or the criticism. But the easiest, quickest way to rebuild that bridge between you is to put some thought and some uplifting humor into a situation. It's to be expected in a healthy relationship that one of you is going to say something or do something that rubs the other the wrong way, that gets under your skin. But it isn't necessary to respond in kind to that kind of behavior. So making each other laugh can tear down the walls, it can dissipate the anger, and it can release the tension that you're feeling right now. Maybe one of you needs to, put an offer on the table. Now, the underlying energy is secrets. Maybe you're arguing over some kind of secret, or maybe, again, somebody walked away because secretly they were feeling something and the other wasn't picking up on it. So this could be the inability to read the other person's emotions, or there is an actual element here in this relationship that holds some kind of secret, or something is hidden, or something is clandestine. Now, the Knight of Cups is someone who can mislead. He can be vague on purpose. Maybe he's dropping breadcrumbs. He's telling just what he wants you to know and nothing more. And so you're always feeling a bit unsettled because you feel like you don't always know the complete story. And there may be a purpose behind that. It could be a control issue, or maybe there's something going on that the other person doesn't want you to know about. They may be playing their cards close to the chest, but maybe they're doing that because they feel insecure, or there's something you don't know about that's making them upset. So you also have the Knight of Swords here. And so this is a person who's very rash, who's very impulsive. And so it's also maybe, two different goals. There's a conflict here, a tug of war between head and heart. These knights are moving in totally different directions. So that speaks to some kind of conflict. Knights are on a mission, and these two knights are going in opposite directions. This particular knight is one who is rash, impulsive. He flies off the cuff. He's prone to argument or brings you into conflict. Or he's very protective. He's rushing in to take care of matters. But this could also be somebody that, there's a quick exit. The minute it starts to get intense, he's out of here. So, maybe communication is an issue between you. But this is saying you need to choose your battles carefully. Not everything is worth fighting over. And so this is coming up with some winning strategies, being resourceful. Because if there's nothing behind what you're doing, in spite of how much you think your strategy is effective, you still are going to lose. Because whatever you're doing may be pointless. So the sooner you recognize what's worth fighting for and what's worth fighting about, the sooner you can put your energy into a situation that's working for you rather than against you. This could be, an issue where you feel pulled in all directions. Maybe you're just not necessarily in sync with your partner. There are times when you just don't seem to be on the same page. Some of you are going to be impulsively rushing into something. Maybe you surprise yourself. You suddenly get engaged, or you move in together, or you decide to get married. But for others of you, you're going to feel as if in this relationship that you are beating your head against a brick wall. Whether that's trying to begin this situation or end the relationship, and some of your disagreements are going to become very ugly, especially if you don't maintain your sense of humor. So this is about, communication skills and maintaining a positive belief system about being a team player, not letting your temper get in the way, and using diplomacy, being careful of how you communicate, how you speak to one another, because it's very easy for one of you to be extremely sensitive. Maybe somebody's moody and things are going well, you're having fun, and before you know it, one wrong word and it ruins everything and somebody's walking away. So it speaks to some inflexibility here, a waste of time, a waste of energy, and a waste of emotion.